All right. Another splendid performance from the ordained choir. Indeed, you are for signs and wonders. Who remembers where we left off? Can you give us a recap? Yes. Can you give us somebody help me here, Coco?
Lieutenant Jerry John Wallace.
What did he do? He staged a coup to overthrow who? A Champon. But then his coup was not successful. Do you know that? His coup was not successful. Because of this, he was actually arrested. And that amounted to mutiny. And when they talk about mutiny, it means you must face some firing squad and then die. So they took him to the court of martial. Oh, Flight Lieutenant Jerry, as vocal as he was, he sat down this time quietly, just looking at them. And the people found all ways and means, tried, was finding faults, charges against him to just do away with his life. He sat down, his men that he stayed the coup to with were there. But as he sat down quietly, I think he was just planning what to tell the people there. He stood up and then he said, no, do you know what? Free these men. Yes, I want to bear the responsibility. I want to be in charge. Free them and just take me on. Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings actually made a lot of remarks. I remember he said that, hey, he's not an expert in law. He's not an expert in the economy. But what? He's an expert for people's stomach. Hey, because a hungry man is also what? An angry man. So he also didn't like the corruption and all the things that were going on at that time. But the people still put him in cell, waiting for him to be killed the next day. So look at what the June 4th uprising brought about. Some soldiers saw that, no, this man was brave, very courageous. For him to say that, yes, I've staged coup with some men, let me die with them, he said no. So they saw that, no, this braveness must be rewarded. So when he was in cell, they broke the cell, went there and brought him out. So immediately, Jerry John Rawlings came out. He went to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. That was the only media at that time. Talk about TV, radio, that was the only one. He went there and then he declared that, hey, there is a military takeover. I have taken over now. I am in charge. So he came and then he wanted to rule. But he had democratic intentions, democratic ideologies. So when he came on the scene, he said, no, let me just let Liman come, Dr. Hilary Liman come and then take the presidency. So he handed over peacefully to this gentleman, fine gentleman. But then what did Liman also do? Remember, we are ushering into the Fourth Republic, right? Yes. Liman is now in charge. So what did he do? Who remembers some of the things Liman did? His government was really short-lived, but then he has some plans, he has some intentions. What was his intentions? Or what were his intentions? Sorry. Yes. Who remembers? Yes.
Dr. Hilary Liman planned to modernize the transport system in the country and also set up a new sewage system in the country as well.
Let's give it up for Ofori. Modernize our transportation system. In fact, if Liman had implemented that plan, we will not be suffering like this. You go and stand by the roadside and it's all hours in this scorchy sun. You don't even get... And talking about the sewage, you see, Ghana is always flooded when we have our raining seasons and all that. If he had done this, but this man kept planning and planning and planning, and Rawlings was in the barracks with his men just watching. This man, what at all is his problem? He's not so brave to implement the plans that he had. What is it? So Rawlings came again with his men and said, hey, you, to hell with you. With all your plans that you are not able to accomplish, just go off the scene and let me come again. So Rawlings came, and I told you that he had democratic intentions, right? So he ruled for some years, 11, 12 years. Yes, you can recall that. And then Rawlings, with his democratic intentions, this time said, okay, some people argue that, yes, the UN and some other powers were influencing, but whatever it was or it is, he actually gave up this military and all that. And let's remember one thing that Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings did. Do you know he really established the security of our country? He did it such that at that time, armed robbery was drastically reduced. And nobody was able to outweigh him. Nobody. He established some peace. All the men that staged coups, he just packed them aside. And this time he was ready for the Fourth Republic. So democracy, there should be elections. Somebody must win and all that. So he stood for elections. And then NPP also stood. It was a multi-party democracy, but this party were always on top. And so when the election was conducted, he won. And this time came on the scene. Why don't you clap for this man at all? He was such a brave man. So Rawlings came on the scene and he made elections to go on. Let's remember he was called what? John. Let's mention his full name.
Jerry John Rawlings.
And then after his rule for 4 years, democracy will tell you that yes, you have only 4 years to rule. And then it permits you to rule again for another 4 years. So Rawlings had another chance to rule for 4 years. And after him came who? Do you know the next president that came?
Yes.
Who was the next president? John Ejekum Kufuor. People used to call him the gentle giant. He also came with his philosophy, with ideologies and all that. But there's one unique thing I remember about him. Do you know he changed our cedi? He kind of her currency. He did something to it. And before we realized we're not, counting plenty, but then fewer cedis. Do you remember something that Kufuor also did? Who can tell me? Yes, who can tell me one thing that he did? Oh, have you forgotten the National Health Insurance Scheme? No. Yes, with that one, you go to the hospital, you don't even pay anything for consultation. Maybe if there are some drugs that you need, the doctors will just write for you to go and buy. So Kufuor too has come to do his part. Is that not it? Yes. So after 4 years, there was another election. And then who won again? Kufuor won for another term of 4 years to rule Ghana as president. And the constitution says that after 8 years, you cannot even stand again. So this time he left the scene. And then who stood?
John Evans.
On the ticket of the NDC. And then on the ticket of NPP, who stood? At that time, who stood? Was it Nana Akufo-Addo?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there was an election. And when the election was over, who won? John Evans Atta-Mills. Please don't forget his title. It's not easy to get a professor. He was a renowned professor, very learned, intelligent man. Some time ago, I was thinking, this man, why did he even concentrate on his education and all that? But he thought he had something to offer. And truly, when he came, he was thinking about constitutional review because our constitution was actually obsolete. If I say obsolete, do you understand at all, Bro Fiedu? Is it a big English? It was nothing to write home about. Our constitution was just, a lot of things were just below the belt. So he wanted to review the constitution. But what happened? History holds it that he was the only sitting president that did what? Died. He sadly died of some illness, and then that was the end of his government. So do you know what? I want us to take a second and then just remember our late professor. May his soul rest in peace. Yes, so when he passed away, he had a vice president. Who knows his name? Yes. Pakwesi. John Dramani Mahama. Give it up for him. Yes, that's what the constitution says. If you pass away, your vice takes over. So John took over and then started ruling. He also was for infrastructure development. For him, he came and then I recall something. There was something big he did. What did he do? Remember the Circle Dubai? Somebody will say what? The hospitals and then what again? The schools. Yes. So John Dramani Mahama took over and finished the term for the late professor. There was another election, and yes, the constitution permitted him to stand. He stood and then he won against who in MPP then? Good. So he came on the scene, and then he also did his part. And after that, what happened? There was another election, and then Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo won. So he has now come to break the chain of the Jones ruling. Is that not it? Yes. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo rule. And how many years did he rule? 80 years. Can you remember him for something?
Yes.
What?
Free SHS.
That thing, when you are mentioning it, be careful or you can bite your tongue. Some people say free SHS. But I didn't hear you say free SHS. You said what? Free SHS. How many of you are enjoying that policy? How many of you are enjoying it? Oh, then I think you have to clap for him. Yes. And then, can't you remember digitalization? I always take my time when I'm mentioning it. Oh, who can mention it so fast? Digitalization. And I understand that they actually digitalized, they actually digitalized some systems, okay? And to them, they saw that yes, where we have raised, we have to technologically advance. Where we will avoid this bureaucracy, inefficiencies in the system. So when everything is automated, you don't have to carry papers here, you don't have to go here and then suffer. No. Things will be done just with a click of a button. It is done. And then we kept going. But what happened afterwards? I want somebody who hasn't spoken. What happened afterwards? Yes. Who? No, I think, yes. Okay, Vivian.
There was another election just the past 3 months ago. And John Dramani, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you. Please give it up for her. Have we seen the John coming again?
Yes.
John Dramani Mahama is now the current president. And he won massively. Okay? He won massively. No matter what happened, he was able to win. And this time around, we have another John on the presidency. And I know you have hope for his rulership, right? Yes. I have a lot of hope because he's an experienced politician. He rose through the ranks. I cannot even mention all. Time will not even permit me. Very experienced, exposed to a lot of things. And he believed that with this exposure and experience, he'll be able to do a lot for Ghana. That is why he has come again. So we are all adopting the wait and see attitude and see what John Mahama will do. But then, as Ghanaians, there is something that really worries me. When somebody has good intentions and all that, instead of us supporting the person, rather pull the person down, rather wish the person evil. I don't think this time around we have to do that. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
So are you going to pray for him?
Yes.
As you sit here, don't tell me your parents belong to NPP or they belong to Ekwadonko's party. What's the name? Belong to that party, belong to which other party? Ekura party, Kotere party. And so once your party didn't win, you are not going to support. That is not patriotic at all. Please do away with that mentality. Forget about what your parents are saying. You are children, you are learning, you have a lot to learn from these people. The best we can do is to pray for God's strength and God's wisdom for him. So that whatever good intention he has, you'll be able to implement them. And then we are all going to do what? Benefit, that's the word. We are all going to enjoy. But if you wish him evil and things do not work well, then you and I will suffer. So have you seen how the Fourth Republic has run through and we are still in the Fourth Republic? I must admit that it has been the most successful republic. Very peaceful. Very, very, very peaceful. That reminds, when I said peaceful, I remembered Atta Mills. He was also a man of peace. Do you know that? He kept saying, Emezeme Pasumdwi, Emezeme Pasumdwi. And I believe that this Fourth Republic has really given us peace. So as children, have you learned a lot from all these leaders?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Viewers viewing us on all kinds of channels, I hope you are also learning. You have questions, you have comments, you have additions. So now the floor is opened. Whichever question you want to ask, if you want to top up, feel free to do so. Democracy is what? Say and I also what? Say. Government of the people.
For the people.
And by the people. Kebi, mami, in Kebi. Say, I'm a Kebi. Ebi one Kebi. Into one so Kebi. People, you too, Kebi. So who has a question, a contribution, a comment, anything? The floor is open. All right, Ofori, let's hear you. Is it a question, a contribution? A contribution.
Thank you very much. I would like to say that I liked your presentation. So my contribution is that before Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, he wrote a book called The Last Stage of Colonization, Neo-Colonialism. And this book talked about how the white men planned to control Africa, even though most of the states had gotten independence. So knowing that Nkrumah was going to expose their plans, the Western systems apparently sent CIA operatives to Ghana to engage some top-level military officers to organize a coup d'etat. And in doing so, when Kwame Nkrumah traveled to Vietnam to organize some peace talks, since there was a little conflict going on there, Kwame Nkrumah was removed from power. And this hurt them very much because he thought that he was doing a lot from his country and he was supposed to be supported by his countrymen. So he made an audio recording talking about how the white men had deceived his fellow countrymen to overthrow him and how they will regret this. So this is what I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Oh, why don't you give it up? Great historian, Ofori. Thank you so much. Please, any question, comment, contribution? Kebi mami kebio, democracy. So please, say something, okay? Yes, any question? Rima, your mouth is like, meka, I will say. So say something. Who has a question? Okay.
I've heard a word, it's called autocracy. What's the meaning of autocracy?
Oh, okay. Who can help Rima here? Rima wants to know the meaning of autocracy. Autocracy. I even said it in my presentation. Yes, Nana, what do you recall about autocracy?
You said that autocracy is like, I say, you can't say.
Exactly. Somebody who is a dictator. Somebody who has become so authoritative. It's like whatever he says is final. But is that democracy at all? We are saying say, and then let me also say something. Let me share my views. And so you now understand autocracy. So please keep it in mind, okay? It will come in your exams one day, okay? Good. Any other question, any contribution? Yes, Pa?
It's a contribution.
All right.
And please, my contribution is that before Jerry John Rawlings was overthrown, he went to his mother's funeral. His mother died before he was overthrown. So when he went to the funeral, a few months later, he got ill. That's when he died.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's give it up for Parkway. See, yes, he's also talking about how he passed away. And Rawlings passed away some few years ago, right? At the age of what? Hey! Okay, so that's for your assignment. Go and look for it. Any other question? Any other question? I want somebody who hasn't spoken. Those who are ready to say something. Please, I told you we are in a democracy. So say something. Don't let somebody hold you. Whatever you say, you are free to say it. Even if you want to speak Triga, please go ahead and say it. Yes, Nadia.
It's like a contribution.
All right.
Yes, so I think Ghanaians, the way Kwame Nkrumah was bold, determined, Ghanaians should also, like Ghanaian leaders or we, the upcoming future leaders, should also be bold and determined like the way he was. And we should be patriotic, Yes, we should think about the country before ourselves. We shouldn't be selfish and all those things. Yeah.
Please give it up for Nadia. That was a powerful contribution. Very, very powerful. Did you hear that? He said we should be what? Bold, determined, and patriotic. Are we ready to do that? Yes. Are some of us doing that at all? Those of us in leadership positions, let me tell you, I know. You see how you are seated innocently. Do you know God is raising giants? God is raising pastors. God is raising managing directors, CEOs of big multinational companies. Oh, you don't even believe that. So you didn't say amen. You didn't even clap. Oh, yes. And some of you can even be politicians. Do you know that? It is possible. So please, when you go there, you have to have that boldness, that courage to speak against evil. Not to condone and connive. No. Not to aid and abet. No. You should be able to speak up. Okay? I hope you are going to do that. Yes. And did you see how corruption was running through? If you are patriotic, there will be nothing corrupt about your rulership or your leadership anywhere. Some of you are prefects. Is that not it? Yes. Who is a prefect? Let me see by your hand. Oh, how many? I can count like 7 people who are leaders. Do you know you are being trained to take up big leadership positions? So are you exhibiting boldness, courage, patriotism? Are you determined? Are you setting good examples at all? Look at all these leaders. They have done their portion. It's left to us. We sang one song that says what? Edumin, and also then. Also, it has reached me and you, or you and me. What are we going to do? So leaders amongst us, to be leaders. I'll not be surprised that a time will come. All of us are going to hold leadership positions in our schools, churches. Oh, you didn't clap for that too. Yes, it is possible. It is possible. That is why we have taken time to learn about all these leaders so that we'll be able to lead well. Okay? Any other question or contribution? Okay, Mami Efua.
It's a contribution. You see, Kwame Nkrumah held the positive action, which was a sit-down strike for Ghanaians, and it angered the British. So he was arrested, but he was not scared. So this is a warning to all Ghanaians that they should not be scared, that they should be bold in whatever they do, that God will protect them.
Thank you so much. Just clap for her. You should be bold. Whatever thing you are doing, if you know it is right, please don't be scared, okay? Don't be scared at all. But sometimes I look at our system, it's like good is becoming evil and evil is becoming good. That is why we are training you little ones, you senior high students, junior high students, the primary level, whether upper or lower, to stand up for what is right and do it, okay? It takes one person. Do you know that? It takes a few people. Look at all these people that staged the coup, that came on the platform to rule and all that. Look at Kwame Nkrumah single-handedly. He just stood up and people supported him. So if you are standing for the good, know that yes, people will support you. Whether they are few or many, don't worry. It's good. And so God will also what? Protect you. Yes, okay. I wanted to end, but yes, I can see people have a lot of contributions. So, yes, let me give Pakwesi the chance to say what he wants to say.
Please is both question and contribution. And please, the contribution is that about John Ejekum Kufuor, the NHIS. I wanted to add something up when he was the president, pregnant women could give birth in peace without paying any money. And the question is that I wanted to ask that, did Atamils die in his house, hospital, or in his office?
Hey, please clap for him. Oh. What a difficult question. This one, they shall allow, I'll consult. Hey, who knows where he died? This one, dear, you and I were not there. Who knows where he died? Oh, you have an idea? For me, it was so sad I didn't even want to know. So please tell us, because that's Pakwesi's question.
Professor Evans at Tamils died in the hospital. He was actually rushed to the hospital and he died there.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's clap for him. So Pakwesi, are you okay? Oh, he has remembered the professor. Yes, yep. Yes, you okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to add something about General Ignatius Kutu Champon's term in office. So, what most people do not know is that during his term of office, he tried to bring back Nkrumah from outside to come and rule over Ghana again. But when he tried to go and get him, Nkrumah was dead. So he brought Nkrumah's body back to Ghana and they held a national service for him. And I think, Nkrumah's body was paraded through Accra. So there were people wailing and mourning for him. So he also did that. But then, even though he wanted to bring Nkrumah back to come and rule, it was too late. So he had to continue ruling on himself as the head of state. Thank you.
Wow, let's clap for Corey. Thank you for that powerful contribution. I can see we are enjoying it and time too keeps running. And so, who else wants to? Aaron, do you want to say something? All right, please go ahead.
Uncle, Auntie, please, I was asking that how did Nkrumah died?
Okay. He's also asking, hey, how did he die? Who can tell us?
To my knowledge, Nkrumah was a poison, but I think he died from a cancer.
Yes, that's what I also heard.
About Nanado and his vice president, his ex-Baumia, Mahamud Baumia. Okay, so I wanted to add a contribution that the digitalization, he brought other stuffs like electric buses. And if he planned that when he becomes the president, he will want to, like, if you you don't have enough money to buy a phone, you can, like, give the money to the person so that you be paying the person little by little before John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was placed on the seat as the president.
Wow, I can see that. Oh, just give it up for Pakwesi. Pakwesi really enjoyed the Sasa. The gate. Hey, the gate. I always take my time when I'm pronouncing it. Pakwesi, I can see that you really enjoyed that part of our Dr. Bawumia, but then he didn't have the chance to implement all those. But you said electric bus. Have you sat in that electric bus before? Is it here at all? Physically, is it here?
Yes.
Is it here?
Yes.
I thought I saw a picture rather. Anyway, good. So our leaders have vision. Our leaders have things in mind they want to do. So as children aspiring to be leaders, viewers all over the world, please, you should also aspire to do something. So can we end here? Yes. It's democracy, so I want to seek your opinion. Can we end here? Yes. Or somebody else has something to say? Okay, let's hear from Cyrus. We haven't heard from him, so.
And please, I want to know if when a coup occurs and a new we get into the new republic.
You say you want to know when?
If a coup occurs before we transit to the another republic.
Yes. A coup is like the military men who almost always live in the barracks, okay? So when they see that a civilian is ruling and they are not so happy with how the ruling is going, they just pick the gun, okay? Dissolve parliament, they just go to the broadcasting house and declare that they have come to power. So it's when a civilian comes on the throne that they rule with a constitution. I don't know if I've made myself clear. Is that clear? So a constitution is the body of laws that govern a country. Okay? So that is totally different. When the military takes over, they rule according to their whims and caprices. Whatever they deem fit, that is what they do. But then this reminds me that it's not all these military rulers that do their country more harm than good. Can you remember Burkina Faso? Can you remember Niger? And then there's another country, Mali. They are soldiers ruling. Benevolently, they are just delivering. They are working. So it's not always that when the military rules, it's just giddy instability and that kind of thing. No. Others have made it. But in our case, did we really see something good coming out of this? It was always people dying, killings, all kinds of instability, okay? There was no peace at all. All right, so Vivian has something to...
I want to ask a question.
Okay, please.
Thank you. I heard that during the time of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, there was a time where maybe, let me say maybe some people open a shop or somebody has a store or something, and then the person has increased. You see, some people, they are selfish. Maybe the thing is 1 cedi and the toy is 5 cedis. So Rawlings let his men go there, and then they will sell the things to the people at a very lower cost. So I want to know, is it true, or like, do you have any idea about that? Like, how true is it?
Wow, let's give it up for Vivian. Hey, Vivian wants to take me to where my mother used to tell me, Cantamanto. Now me were 2 shops or buy a pet. I don't even want to mention his name. Or buy a pet. So our shops didn't now bomb me. You know, there was this calabule. People were just raising prices of goods. And Rawlings, that people person that he was, didn't want people to suffer. For me, that's what I saw about him. He didn't want people to suffer. So why should you just be increasing prices of goods and services like that? He was just not in favor of that at all. It's true. It's true. He was just on the scene, and he wanted things to be done peacefully so that everybody will enjoy. Okay, he didn't want that kind of selfishness when some people are belly full, others are what? Because of what? Hunger. No. So he wanted to stabilize prices. He was, it's true. Whatever you heard about him is true. Okay, so viewers all over the world, I hope you have enjoyed our session, our political history. Oh, Ghana has come this far, Ebenezer. This is how far the Lord has brought us.